Alright, next part, doors. So for the doors, you would think that it's the same process that we did for the hood, but it's actually a little bit different for the values, for the directions. So just keep following the course with attention, because this way we can avoid any errors. So first of all, it's convenient at this point to move everything down to the floor a little bit, because I don't like the fact that whenever I play the animation, the car immediately gets smashed like this. The thing is that we cannot select just everything and move down because of all the relations that we have in the middle. So I think we just have to, let's reveal the parts collection and right click in the parts collection and choose select objects. And then in wireframe mode, maybe let's try to select the rig control holding shift like so. And then from the side view, if you press G to move it, let's try. Yeah, everything is following correctly. So let's escape this. I'm gonna move it down precisely like this until it barely touches the floor. Nice. And finally, when I play the animation, the car doesn't get destroyed like it used to do before. Now let's isolate the door first of all. So the first thing that I want to do is to separate the geometry of the glass. Every glass that we have in the scene, we have to separate it from the objects. Later we are gonna see why. So in edit mode, first, let's click outside to deselect eventual selections. In faces mode, the most convenient way of selecting a glass is this. Just select one face, and in material slot, you can see the material that is assigned to this face, which is in this case the glass clear. And with this material selected, if you go here and click on select, it should select all the faces that have this same material. You can see it in wireframe, transparency activated. So with this selected, I'm gonna press P, separate selection. Cool. And now if you exit from edit mode, you will see that we have two objects, that is the glass and the door. So first of all, I'm gonna rename this glass and move it in a dedicated collection for all the glasses. So let's do this. This is gonna be a glass door left, all right? And with this glass selected, I'm gonna press M to move this in a new collection. And the new collection is going to be called glasses, and press enter. Let's see where is gone my collection for the glasses. Okay, this is correctly put outside every collection. So the advantage of this is that we can turn it off or on whenever we want later, which is going to speed up the viewport playback frame rate and also our workflow. However, for now, I'm going to leave it on because we need to take it as a reference for the shape of the deform mesh. So first of all, let's select the rigid bodies collection now. I'm going to create a very simple cube rigid body that is gonna be the rigid body for the door. Just don't consider the geometry of the glass, just consider this part of the door, right? So something like a very simple cube like this, it should be more than enough. Maybe we can put these vertices a little bit here like this, and this is gonna be a little bit. Let's see from the front, it's gonna be like this, a little bit inside. As always, not in the center, but a little bit more inside compared to the original door. This space is very important because then the displacement is gonna push this geometry inside like this. So let's summarize. I want to have this type of displacement like this, but I also want to have I suppose that this part of the door is gonna smash everywhere in the walls, in some poles, so it's convenient to give a secondary displacement that is gonna push the geometry inside in this direction, all right? So to do this, first of all, in edit mode, let's push these vertices a little bit like this, so that we have created this space for the deformation. And then, let's see, from the front, it's pretty okay. Eventually, you can, in edit mode, move these vertices like this, so that they represent more the shape of the door. You know, just barely move some vertices. It's not something in which you have to be an expert of modeling, nothing like that. Now, we have just created this rigid body, so first, let's rename it. This is going to be the left door RB, a viewport display in wire, and activate also in front as always. Then I'm gonna prepare properly the geometry, so Control A, apply scale, Control A, apply rotation. In edit mode, select all faces and press Shift N as always, and then I'm gonna go to object, set origin to center of mass volume. In the physics properties is gonna be a rigid body. As a mass, I'm gonna choose probably 15 kilograms, and all the way down all the damping values, I'm gonna set both of them on 0.01. And also I want to go in the constraint panel, and that is gonna be a child off, because I want this rigid body to follow the rig. So in the target, because it's not visible here, I'm gonna simply click here and search for rig, and there we go, rig control. And now, as always, this is following the rig control. By the way, okay, let's make the deform mesh. So I'm gonna select the deform meshes collection. From the side view, I'm gonna create simply a mesh plane, flat like this, and I'm gonna rotate it by 90 degrees. So press on the keyboard R, Y, 90, and then press enter, and this should be perfectly straight. Yes. Now the deform mesh should actually cover entirely this door, including the glasses, even if the glasses is a separated geometry, because I also want the glass to follow the deformation before breaking. So now let's edit the shape a little bit, very easily like this. Let's see from the front what we get. Let's move it like this until it's potentially staying almost outside of the original door. Just add one edge loop, something around here where there is the line of the window, and we can, you know, just try to follow the shape of the door like this, and maybe this corner can be a little bit more inside like this. All right, and we can finally subdivide it many times. So select everything and right click and subdivide, right click and subdivide again. Let's see, let vertices 45, let's push it more, right click and subdivide again, 150. If you feel, you can even go a little bit higher than this, or creating manually some edge loops that is more convenient. But in this case, I'm just gonna go on working with 150 more or less. We can even delete some extra geometry that we don't need in this empty part. So in faces mode, let's press C for the circular selection, and just select these faces that are not useful for any deformation because they are too much outside. Let's just give some extra space here just in case. I'm gonna deselect this and the X and delete faces. All right, so we get the geometry more or less like this. First of all, this is gonna be visible in front as always. Display as, for now, I'm gonna choose wire. All right, I'm gonna press Ctrl A, apply rotation, apply scale. And I am gonna rename this object deform left door, and let's select the door and let's give a surface deform modifier like we did for the hood. There we go. As a target, of course, I'm gonna choose my deform mesh, that is this one here, and bind it. And now we can finally select the deform mesh. So first of all, in the physics properties, I'm gonna activate dynamic paint, add the canvas. All the way down, I'm gonna choose surface type weight, of course, with anti-aliasing activated. All the way down here under output, I'm gonna click on this plus button to generate the vertex group. And finally, we can go in the modifiers tab, add a displacement. This is going to be the first main displacement. We're going to add a secondary displacement later. As a texture, choose our common texture that at this point I'm going to use forever. And let's decrease a little bit the strength of the displacement. And at this point, we can choose a display as bounds so that we don't have this disturbing view. Yeah, this is pretty low resolution. You can even go higher with the faces, but you know, as I said, I'm going to stay pretty low because of the recording that I am doing. Now, looking from the front, we need to understand the mid-level of the displacement. So here there is the car, here is the door. Potentially the door is gonna be pushed like this, and so I want the mid-level to be like this, more or less. All right, now I want to give a secondary displacement for pushing this geometry in this direction, more or less, like this, because this part of the door, of course, is gonna hit everything is gonna meet on the road during an accident. So let's give another displacement, add modifier, displace, texture, is gonna be this one. So for the direction, I'm gonna change this to the Y direction, which is as before, this direction here. If you try to tweak it, you can see what this is doing. So something like 0.5, don't exaggerate. And instead, let's see the mid-level. Just consider this half of the door. Let's see, mid-level. Yeah, there we go. This is what I want. In the front part is gonna go inside the car. As always, don't worry, because this is not gonna be a problem later. Maybe don't exaggerate with the mid-level, something like this should be fine. All right, if you want, you can rename the two displacement. Now let's connect the dynamic paint in both of this displacement, vertex group dp weight, and vertex group here dp weight. Cool. Let's also make all the necessary relations. So let's stay in wireframe mode so that we can select also inside. So the deform mesh and the original door are gonna be parented to the rigid body of the door that is inside here. So holding shift, ensure that you select the correct object. There we go. So the rigid body of the door should be yellow, kinda, and instead this and this are a little bit orange if you selected everything correctly. Now let's press Ctrl P, set parent to object. Nice. Instead, for the glasses cannot be parented because a parent relation for the glasses will create problems with particles dynamics. You will see later, by the way. So for now, I am simply gonna select the glass and instead go in the constraint panel and give a child of constraint, but as a target I'm gonna choose the door rigid body. So target, you know, I'm gonna just search it from here, door, left door RB, this one here. This is the only way for the particles to work correctly. I made some tests and I already know that this is gonna prevent a lot of problems. And now we are missing only the constraint. So let's go out from the isolation, maybe staying in solid view. For the constraint, I'm just simply gonna duplicate this because this includes everything that I need for a constraint, including the relation, including the viewport display, mode in front and stuff like that. So just duplicate this by pressing Shift D and put it more or less here and try to guess what is gonna be the right point of rotation for a door, something like here. So as always, don't put the constraint in the extreme outside part, but something like here, like this, outside like here. All right, and still that we are here, actually we can also give the surface deform modifier also to this glass. So modifier, add modifier, surface deform, and as a target I'm gonna choose my deform left door. There we go, and bind it. Now, if you play the animation, you should see a lot of problems like this, because yes, we duplicated the constraint, but we need to adjust some settings. So let's do this. Select this constraint. Let's go in the physics properties. First of all the way down, objects that this constraint is connecting. Vehicle is correct, but the front hood, no, this is not correct. Delete it and instead search the rigid body of the door. Let's see, door, left door RB. I want to choose this one here. So we are connecting the rigid body of the car with the rigid body of the door, but we need to adjust the angle of rotation. So this is not the right angle. I'm gonna put this upper X angle on 0, and let's see, probably it's gonna be this one. No, probably it's gonna be this one. Let's see from another point of view. Yeah, the Z direction is the right one. Let's try to put 90 degrees in this direction. Let's make some tests hitting the car in this part of the door, and you can see that it's working everything correctly. So for now, don't worry for the glasses. We're gonna make the glasses just after these parts of the door. Super cool. Now, for the other door, you would think that you simply need to duplicate this stuff and put it here and rotate it. Instead, don't do it, because that's gonna generate a bunch of problems that I don't suggest you to face. Instead, just remake these steps for this door. Just try to guess, to tweak the right angle of the constraint, probably changing the direction of the mid-level and stuff like that. This way, you are gonna avoid a lot of problems, alright? Alright, I just finished to set up also the second door, and as you can see, everything is working correctly. I have all the deformation working as expected and everything is fine, so we can proceed to the next part. But before that, just ensure, double check that everything is correct. The glasses, for example, I have separated also these glasses, and if you want to check that they are not parented to anything, just go here under relations. You can see that we don't have any parent going on, and instead they have a child of constraint, and the glasses are always constrained to the rigid body of the relative door. Other than that, for this door, the right angle of rotation for the constraint was, let's see, the right angle was in the Z lower, and I put this on -90 if you want to do the same. So this was an upper angle of +90. Instead, this other one is -90 in the Z lower. Cool, we can proceed to the next part.